Today's fairy tale is an epic Irish tale. It has some elements of the Sleeping Beauty story, the problematic ones, and it's a wild ride. This is the King of Erin and the Queen of Lonesome Island. Content warning essay. There was a king of Erin, which is Ireland, long ago, and one day he's out riding his horse and he sees this black pig and he feels compelled to follow it, but the pig's like insanely fast. The pig goes into the ocean and he follows it into the ocean on his horse and rides until his horse drowns underneath him. Keeps going swimming after the pig and then follows the pig up onto this island. Wanders through the island, the pig is gone, but he finds this giant castle and it's got all this food prepared for him. There's no one there, and then he finds this bed. So while he's sleeping that night, he feels the presence of a woman in the room. Reaches his hand toward her, asks who she is, but she doesn't speak. The next day he tries to leave, but the island won't let him. It keeps changing its landscape, so he has to stay again. So for 3 nights he eats, sleeps in the bed, sees this woman who doesn't communicate with him. The last night he's like, why won't you tell me who you are? And then suddenly the room fills with light. He sees that she's the most beautiful woman ever, and she's like, hello, King of Erin, I am the queen of this island, Lonesome Island. I was also the black pig that led you here. I'm under a spell, my 2 sisters in other places are under spells, and the only one who can free us is a son that I'm gonna have by you. Even though they never touched the whole time he was there, apparently she has gotten what she needed. So she's like, you're free to go now. So he leaves to go back to Ireland, and she gives birth to a child. That child is going to be the protagonist of our story, because he grows up, becomes a young man, and sees his mother crying one day, and he's like, what's wrong? And she's like, well, this friend of mine, doesn't tell him it's his dad, he is at war with Spain and he's gonna be killed. So her son's like, I will go and I will stop it. He goes to Erin and he tells the king, hey, I'm a warrior, I'm here to help you. And the king's like, cool. So the next day they have a battle against the king of Spain and his forces, and our dude leads them in victory and kills the king of Spain and every single last Spanish soldier. Now the king of Erin's wife has 2 sons that are big cowards, and they hid during the entire battle. But after it's over, she tells the king, who wasn't there, they were the ones who destroyed all the Spaniards. Then that night, she drugs our protagonist and shoves him out a window into the sea to get rid of him. But our dude is amazing, and so he swims back to Lonesome Island. He tells his mom what happens, and she's like, we'll get that Queen of Erin someday, but not now. 3 years later, the new king of Spain has come back to fight the king of Erin to get revenge for his dad, and so our protagonist leaves to go help him again, and again murders all of the Spaniards. Again, the Queen of Erin lies and says her 2 sons who hid the whole time did it, but this time she can't just shove our dude out a window, so she comes up with another idea. She puts chicken blood in her mouth and then goes to the king and spits it up and says, this is my heart's blood, I'm gonna die, nothing can cure me except the water from Tubber Tinta. It's another magical island that has a flaming well this water needs to come from. Our protagonist says to the king, I will go journey and get this magic water, but I want her 2 sons to come with me. And they all agree to that. So he and the 2 coward sons set off. They travel on and they meet our dude's aunt, the sister, who's also under some spell like his mom. We're not sure what the spell is, except they apparently can't leave where they are like his mother. And she tells them, oh, I can tell you how to get there, but you're surely gonna die on this journey. The first of the cowardly son says, I'm gonna stay here, I'm not going any further. And the other 2 are like, okay, we'll go on. So then this happens again with the second sister, who again says, you're all gonna die if you go. And so the other cowardly son stays behind there, so only our dude goes on to find this place. But an important thing that he has found out is that this magical island has tons of beasts and monsters, and it has this woman who rules over everything and is the queen and has all of these chambermaids. But they are of this magical fairy race that lives forever, but they sleep for 7 years at a time. He's told this by one of the aunts, who say, if you go there when they're all asleep, you can do what you like. And an eagle comes and tells them, hey, they're all asleep right now. So he's like, cool. He rides this horse given to him by one of the aunts, who is like shaggy and thin, but surprisingly strong and amazing, and can talk to him. It helps him clear a river of fire to get to the island, to clear poison trees. Gets there and dismounts, and all the beasts are asleep, and there's 12 rooms for each of the 12 maidens of our queen. They're all asleep in each room, and each one gets lovelier and lovelier. Then he gets to the room of the queen, who is asleep on this golden throne surrounded by the flaming water that he's supposed to get for the Queen of Erin, who isn't really sick. Then he gets on the golden couch with the fairy queen. He says, she's so beautiful, I'm gonna stay here for a while. And he stayed there with her for 6 days and 6 nights. What was he doing with her there the whole time? I bet you can guess, and we're gonna find out. When he's ready to go home, he gets the water in a flask, and then he writes her this letter saying who he is and why he was there. When he and the horse get off the island, the horse says, okay, now cut me into 4 quarters, strike each quarter with this magic rod that he pulls out of of his ear, a druidic rod. And it says, each quarter will become the son of a king who were all cursed and transformed to be me, this one horse. Once they have come to life and you freed them, your aunts will be freed and your mom, and you're all good. So he does that, and he goes back with the two cowardly sons to the king of Erin, and he gives the water to the queen, and he's like, here, you can live now. And she's like, thank you. And he and his two aunts go back to Lonesome Island to live with his mother another 7 years. Back on Tubber Tinta, once that 7 years is up, the queen wakes up and sees she has a 6-year-old child just playing around. When she saw the child, she began to cry and wring her hands, saying, some man has been here while I slept. And she's right. It says the child has a golden forehead and a silver pole. And when I first read that, I was like, his pole? But no, it's spelled like this. Like, apparently can mean a person's head. I always heard it like a horse between their ears is the pole. Anyway, because of that, all the maidens and the wise people on the island say he must be the son of a hero. Then she finds the letter and she finds out it is the son of a hero. It says she was then proud of the child, but she still wants to find his dad. She takes everyone in her whole army to Erin and she yells to the king, I demand for the person who got the water from my realm to come out to me or I'm gonna lay waste to all of Ireland. So he sends out one of the cowardly sons that he thinks did it, and she's like, did you do it? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, all right, get on my steed. But as soon as he gets on the steed kicks him off, and it says that he fell on a rock and dashed the brains out of his head. So he failed that test. They send out the second cowardly son. He gets killed the same way because he didn't get the water. The king figures out what must have happened, and he writes a letter to the Queen of Lonesome Island and says, please come with your son and your two sisters. So they show up and they send out our protagonist. The queen says, get on my steed. He does, and the steed doesn't kill him. So she runs to him and buries her face in his bosom and says, you are the one, and is apparently not mad and totally okay with what he did. And in front of everyone, she has the Queen of Erin put on this magic belt that squeezes if she lies. So she says to the Queen of Erin, who's the father of your eldest son? And she's like, it's the gardener. And she's like, who is the father of your second son? And she's like, the brewer. She cheated on the king and they were never his sons at all. So the king puts down a big fire, throws his wife in, and she was destroyed at once. The Queen of Lonesome Island says to our protagonist, hey, this guy was your father the whole time. The King of Erin marries the Queen of Lonesome Island, and then their son marries the Queen of Tubber Tinta. So the Prince of Lonesome Island became the King of Tubber Tinta, and it says Lord of the Golden Chamber. You know, the bedroom where he stayed for those 6 days. This story is wild and fun and has definitely inspired me to do more Irish fairy tales, so look for those in the future. As always, check out my book, Dust Spells, a reimagining of the 12 Dancing Princesses, and my podcast, Folk Tales and Fairy Lore. Link is in the bio.